You ever turn on your video game console and just don't feel like playing any games? Sometimes I can feel that way, and I feel like other people can too. I mean, sometimes we just game a little too hard. So what do these companies give to us starving gamers? Us starving gamers with no money for games. Absolutely not a penny. Well, lucky for us, some game companies gave us some of the system menus and other things to do in them too. So let's check them out. There's a lot of different consoles to go over, too many for one video, so surely I'll run out of consoles eventually, right? I think I'm still missing some stuff, hold on. We'll start with the PlayStation 1, released in 1994. Those noises still give me goosebumps. There isn't too much going on in the PS1 menu. You can check your memory cards and move data between them. And there's a CD player option to, you guessed it, listen to CDs. I enjoy the little memory card saves because some of them actually move around a little bit. And the little paint blotches on the menu give it much more of a personality in my opinion, compared to what later versions of the PS1 got. I love gray blocks. Now you may be wondering to yourself, why didn't I start out with an even earlier console than the PlayStation 1? What about that NES or that SNES? Well, oh boy, do I got a menu for you. It's very minimalistic. Now you can't really control this operating system, but it's more meant for the console to let you know if there's a problem with the hardware or the games. Now this happens quite often, and my NES has actually also been hit with this problem too. And as much as I would love to show you guys my blinking screen, I can't even find my power cables because I'm too lazy. My SNES actually doesn't even work at all, but we're not missing too much. It seems like more of the same, but just less flashing lights and more blank screens. Now, the Nintendo 64, on the other hand, does have an operating system. Just not mine.
God damn it.
The operating system is actually bundled in with this little add-on for the Nintendo 64 called the 64DD. Released in 1998, this little thing plugged into the bottom of the Nintendo 64 and allowed for these magnetic discs to run on the console. And I always thought these things looked really weird. They just look like armored floppy disks. And compared to the PS1, these magnetic discs just didn't have as much space as a CD-ROM. Combine that with the lack of interest in the consumer base, and you have a console with a problem. There was only approximately 15,000 units ever purchased, and they've never been released outside of Japan. So if you become interested and want to get one, good luck. But that's besides the point. Let's get into the operating system. There isn't too much going on here, a simple calendar and time feature, a big Nintendo 64 logo, and Super Mario. I think it's really cute that Mario also plays around with the Nintendo 64 logo, kicking it and sliding through it, jumping through it. There's just a lot of charm here. It's a lot compared to what the modern operating systems are. Some of my favorites are the logo getting kinda small, only to expand dramatically once Mario touches it, as well as the one where Mario is balancing on the Nintendo 64 logo with the glyphs imprinted on it, only for the block to morph into leaves and Mario falling right through them. There may not be much going on here, but what's going on is nice. It's small, but it's cool. At least whenever you compare it to...
I think I miss my...
Anyways, onto the PlayStation 2. That one gave me even more goosebumps because this was one of the consoles I actually grew up with back in the day. This menu feels a little similar to the PS1's menu, except for a system configuration menu instead of a CD player option. All the fun moving lights and the glass-like geometry really gives the PlayStation 2 a sleek and futuristic feel. Really makes me feel like I'm in the third place, if you get what I mean.
Welcome to the third place.
That commercial is a full minute and I still cannot tell you what the context is. I don't know what Sony was on during this time. But back to the PlayStation 2's operating system, they also brought back the memory card system. But instead of little 2D images that sometimes move, we have full 3D icons for saves. I don't have a lot of saves on my memory card myself, but there's so many different cool icons. I mean, how could we ever move on from this? Now, I could end this with a simple fun fact about the PlayStation 2, like how in the start screen, the number of towers indicates your save games and their height indicates how long you've played them. But I think I want to do something a little different. And it's all about this card right here. This little guy opens up your PlayStation 2 to do incredible things. And all you have to do is just plug it into the PlayStation. And upon turning on the console, we get... What? That's not the PlayStation 2 menu. It may not have the style or flair as the original PlayStation 2 menu, but it lets us do some pretty cool things. Now that we're on the menu, you can clearly see there's a lot more options than what we originally had. We have new options for ways to play backup games, play emulators, play through a hard drive, open up FTP servers, viewing console information. I mean, it's endless. My favorite use of this would probably be the ability to just play any backups of PlayStation 2 games. I play my games through USB, but there's also a hard drive you can connect to the back of the PlayStation 2 if you want to load it up with more games and faster load times. If you just have a PlayStation 2 lying around, I'd totally recommend you pick one of these up, as it can turn your PlayStation 2 into a gaming monster. And the cards aren't even that expensive either, only costing around $10 to $15. But we're getting a little off track. Let's get to our next operating system. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen that intro at least once. The Nintendo GameCube's operating system is quite sleek and nice as well. It features all your main options like gameplay, options, memory card, and calendar, all within a nice little cube. And the sound effects that accompany your button presses are very satisfying to hear. Atmosphere like this is really cool, and I really feel like it's lacking in modern operating systems. There's also some secret intro scenes, and they're pretty easy to do as well. Plugging in the console with one controller connected, holding the Z button will net you with It's a little too childish for me. The other one might require you to find some friends as well. You're gonna have to power on your GameCube console with 4 controllers connected, all holding the Z button. If you manage to do all of that correctly, then you'll be rewarded with this intro. A much more manly intro, if I do say so myself. But that's about it for the GameCube, just a nice atmospheric operating system. So let's move on to our last operating system for today. Do you think if you eat that green blob you'll gain superpowers? The Xbox has a more tile-based menu with a memory option, music, Xbox Live, and settings. And the sound effects on the Xbox really make me feel like I'm operating some heavy piece of classified equipment. Now, most of the operating system is pretty much the same as the others before it. You've got the ability to access your memory cards and change data, you can access music to play different tracks you might have downloaded, and you can access your settings to, well, change your settings. There's also the inclusion of the Xbox Live button where you can make accounts and play online with other gamers. One of the more interesting parts of the Xbox's history is that Microsoft wanted it to be looked at as some sort of alien technology, and they decided to use recordings of what they deemed as alien technology and imprint it inside of the operating system. So naturally, you would want to hear what that sounds like, right? You'd want to see what that big business deems as alien technology. Well, here you go. Yeah, needless to say, this scared the shit out of a lot of people. But that seems to be all the time I've got for right now. If you have a game console that I didn't talk about, feel free to write it in the comments section. But besides that, I hope you have a good rest of your day.